Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 81 of the Unstoppable Entertainment Show, the most comprehensive entertainment news show on the internet. I am, of course, Nate Schaffner, otherwise known as the Unstoppable Nate. How are you all doing today? I hope you're doing well, and if you're not doing, if you're struggling today, I hope that this show provides a brief break from whatever it is that you're going through. Uh, yeah, I always say there's a lot of crazy shit going on in the world right now, and I hope that this show provides at least a little bit of joy to you guys. I got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about today. Um, but before I get started, I just wanted to remind everybody that if you like this show, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, spread the word. Also, if you have a comment, a question, or if you'd like me to talk about certain movies or franchises, you can email me anytime at the address listed in the description of this video. So with all that out of the way, let's get started with this. I want to get started with this. This is really interesting. So you might recall from, I think, last episode or the episode before that, I talked about the fact that Warner Brothers, I'm sorry, not Warner, Paramount is developing a reinvention, reboot, whatever you want to call it, of A Nightmare on Elm Street. Well, because of the numerous roadblocks surrounding the Paramount Warner Brothers merger, a creative conflict has emerged. And this is really interesting. This article, now, I should point out that this article references an insider news source named Puck. Now, for those who don't know, Puck is an insider news an insider news source, and that's built for industry professionals, and it's founded by journalists, and it focuses on Wall Street, Washington, Silicon Valley, and Hollywood, and Puck News routinely breaks entertainment, media, and finance stories that are later validated by the major trades. So Puck News is a reputable insider news source. So this particular article is on CBR, published on July 30th. And this article says that two separate reboots of A Nightmare on Elm Street are in the works at both Paramount and Warner Brothers ahead of the major merger between the studios. Now, this article does go on to say that, according to a new report by Puck, that's Puck News, a conflict has arisen out of the Paramount and Warner Brothers merger being put on pause. Notably, Paramount only has the domestic rights to A Nightmare on Elm Street, while Warner Brothers happens to hold the international rights. On the Paramount side, it was believed that by the time production started on their reboot, the Warner Brothers Paramount deal would have closed. Warner Brothers would then be compelled to release the Paramount movie overseas. So now, and this article goes on, however, Warner Brothers Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdy are reportedly not enthused about Paramount's reboot plans. With the merger halted, They are now planning their own Nightmare on Elm Street reboot, even though it could only be distributed overseas. Lee Cronin, who directed Evil Dead Rise and Lee Cronin's The Mummy, obviously, is in talks to produce, write, and direct the Warner Brothers movie. That already gives them a leg up on Paramount, which doesn't yet have a filmmaker attached for their reboot. Okay, this is interesting. This is really interesting because, it's they thought this deal would be done by now, and it's not. So we're gonna make our own. This kind of is, from a business standpoint, this does not look good. I mean, like, these two companies conflicting about, we're each gonna make our own remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street. So that's, these two companies who are supposed to be merging together are now competing to see which Nightmare on Elm Street can get released first. As a now, as a fan and someone who so passionately loves the original Nightmare on Elm Street, as a fan, I'm like, okay, the more Nightmare on Elm Street, the better. But from a business standpoint, I'm like, oh shit, like this is supposed to be a merger between these two major companies, and now they're competing against another. That doesn't look good. But again, as a fan, I'm like, okay, bring it on. Now, I want to say something really quick about. So this article does mention that the the Warner Brothers Nightmare on Elm Street, that Lee Cronin is in talks to produce, write, and direct the Warner Brothers remake, who directed Evil Dead Rise and, Lee Cronin's The Mummy. I loved Evil Dead Rise. I loved it so fucking much. That movie's fucking awesome. I have not seen the Mummy movie that he did. I heard it was I heard that it was kind of mediocre. I heard it's very gory, which, I don't have a problem with at all. But I heard, like, overall, like the movie's just a mediocre movie. So I would be a little nervous about him doing a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. But I just wanted to make these couple of points here about these two companies who are supposed to be merging together, and now they're competing together. But also, as a fan, I'm like, fuck yeah, like, bring it on. I'm ready. So I just wanted to so jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about two new Nightmare on Elm Street remakes happening. Okay. This next bit of news is excuse me. This next bit of news is sad and a little confusing, to be honest. So one of my favorite Um, let me see here. I want to make sure. Um, yeah, one of one of my favorite Marvel Disney Plus shows was Wonder Man. I loved Wonder Man. And, seeing Yahya Abdul Mateen II and Ben Kingsley and their chemistry together, that show is fantastic. Now, um, in back in March of this year, Wonder Man was renewed um, for a second season. However, there's been a disappointing, an extremely disappointing update regarding the future of Wonder Man as far as the Wonder Man TV show. This article is on CBR, published by Jamie Lovett. This article says, in a shocking reversal, Marvel Studios has canceled Wonder Man after one season. This comes after the Marvel Cinematic Universe series had been renewed for a second season on Disney Plus in March, just 2 months after its premiere. Sources tell Variety that the Wonder Man Season 2 writer's room never came together. All writers who had been attached to the project have now been released to pursue other work. So basically, this Wonder Man was canceled after it had been renewed for a second season. It and Yahya Abdul Mateen II earned an Emmy nomination for the show. This is confusing because this was not I've looked into who I not necessarily I haven't dug very deep, but I have looked a little into who could have and why this show was canceled. And as far as I can tell, the decision to cancel this show was not made by Kevin Feige, the head honcho at Marvel Studios. As far as my research shows, he did not make that decision. From what I understand, the decision to cancel the shows, or I'm sorry, the decision to cancel this show was made by people higher up than Kevin Feige, like executives at Disney and Marvel, the big higher ups. Which is it's really disappointing. You know, I loved this show, and I was really um so this decision was made by the big head honchos at Disney and Marvel. Um, and that's as far as I know, and that's really disappointing because this show was great and it got really uh like a lot of people watched it. Um, all the contracts were signed and the schedules were cleared and they just decided, and it was decided for whatever reason just to cancel it. And it really really stinks because I would have liked to see more of. I mean, we could get more of the character, but I was really looking forward to a second season of Wonder Man, and especially seeing Ben Kingsley back. He's great in the show, and his character arc in that show is fantastic. I mean, we may get more Wonder Man in a movie, and that'd be cool. You know, it just this is. I hate this decision because it as far as my research can tell, as far as my research shows, this decision was not made by creative executives. You know, this decision was made by people who uh, sit behind a desk and all they see is numbers on charts. And I hate that. I hate that so much. I loved the show. I was looking forward to seeing more of it. You know, um, yeah. I don't know what else to say. I'm extremely disappointed by this. I hope we get more um, of Wonder Man down the line in some capacity. But yeah, it just sucks. So jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on this. Okay, so this next bit of news is really cool. So, uh, you know, I talked about, I think last episode or the episode before, that there's going to be that Parker Finn, who directed Smile and Smile 2, is directing a remake of Possession, starring Paul Dano. Um, and there's been some casting news regarding this remake. This article is on Joe Blow, published by Cody Haman. Excuse me. This article says the cast of Parker Finn's remake of Possession continues to grow. According to an exclusive report from Deadline, Madeline Brewer, Emery Cohen, and Nicholas Alexander Chavez have signed on to star alongside Margaret Qualley, Callum Turner, Paul Dano, and Diego Calva in Paramount's new take on the cult psychological horror classic. Let me see here. So, Madeline Brewer's obviously best known for The Handmaid's Tale. Emery Cohen was in Marty Supreme with Timothy Chalamet. That movie's fantastic. Um, this cast is really really shaping up, and honestly, like I said, uh, last time I talked about this, if it were anybody else but Parker Finn directing this remake, I probably wouldn't be interested at all, to be honest with you. But with Smile and Smile 2, Parker Finn really kind of like a fresh new voice in the horror film genre and doing something completely original. Um, those movies blew me away. Um, so if anybody is, I think if anybody is going to, if anybody can do a remake of Possession and make it worth our time and money, it's going to be Parker Finn. Um, so, uh, you know, look, I can understand, you know, that this remake is going to be divisive among fans. I can understand that. You know, but I'm of the mind, like, again, like, if you get the right creative people involved, this could be really good. Um, God, Emery Cohen was so good in Marty Supreme. Oh my God. But anyway, jump in the comments section and let me know your thoughts on these casting updates regarding the remake of Possession. Okay, what's next here? Oh, so we have more casting news regarding another horror movie. So I talked about the past couple episodes. I've been talking about there are a couple more films coming in the Conjuring film franchise. And one of those is a Conjuring prequel, involving a young Ed and Lorraine Warren. And there's been more casting news regarding, it's going to be called The Conjuring First Communion. And there's been some casting news regarding that movie. This article is on Joe Blow, published again by Cody Haman. And this article says, a little ways down here, that a new report from The Wrap reveals that Charles Parnell, Marta Kessler, and Caleb Dolden have officially joined the supernatural horror prequel. Let me see here. So this article goes on to say that New Line Cinema has yet to reveal plot details, but the film will focus on the younger versions of the Warrens as they begin the journey that eventually turns them into the world's most famous paranormal investigators. So Charles Parnell was in Top Gun Maverick. He was in the last Mission Impossible movie. He was in The Mandalorian. You know, he's really good. I'm not too familiar with Marta Kessler or Caleb Dolden, but Charles Parnell, you know, he's especially in Top Gun Maverick. I mean, he's so good. You know, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I hope it's God. I hope it's good. God, I hope it's good. Hold on just a second. Who did he play? Yeah, that's right. Charles Parnell played Warlock in Top Gun Maverick. And that scene where Maverick's like, I have to admit I didn't expect to be invited back, and Warlock is just like, they're called orders, Maverick, and I'm just like, oh shit. But anyway, yeah, this cast is shaping up. Um, I'm excited because they're going to start filming soon, and hopefully it's good. I think the Conjuring film franchise could use a jolt of creative energy, to be honest with you. Um, so jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about this piece of news. Okay, so excuse me just a second. So, for those who don't know, and I've talked about this before, but I think I'm for the most part, I am a fan of the Disney live action remakes of their animated films. I understand the criticism, and I know people who haven't seen any of them. They just refuse. And you know what? I get it, but at the same time, some of them have been good, and a couple of them have been great. Even, um, the remake of the Jungle Book was so awesome. That Jungle Book live action remake is awesome. But I've enjoyed quite a few of the Disney live action remakes. Um, However, in that live action Lilo and Stitch uh, movie, uh, I thought was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good, and it made $1 billion at the box office. So, for those who don't know, there is another live action remake of a Disney movie coming, and it's going to be Tangled. They're doing a live action remake of Tangled is happening. And so I don't so Catherine Hahn is going to play Mother Gothel. Catherine Hahn played Agatha in the Marvel Agatha All Along series. Catherine Hahn is going to play Mother Gothel, and um, Rapunzel and Flynn Rider have been cast, and there's been um, more casting news regarding this movie. Let me just, I want to make sure. Okay. So, there's been some casting news regarding this movie. Um, this article is on Screen Rant, published by Rihanna DeBono Smith. And a little ways down here, it says, this article says, in new set videos, Tangled's live action remake has found its Queen Arianna, and that is Outlander star Catriona Balfe. So yeah, let me see. If it shows, yeah. So Milo Manheim is going to play Flynn Rider. Tegan Croft is going to play Rapunzel, and Catherine Hahn is going to play Mother Gothel. And now, Catriona Balfe is going to play Queen Arianna. I am not familiar with her. I have not seen Outlander. Um, but again, the more casting news, the better. I mean, um, yeah, they're filming, and and hopefully it's good. Now, I will say this: I really, really hope it's good because, and I look, and I say this: there is rumors and there is speculation, and I cannot emphasize this enough. This is not confirmed. These are just rumors and speculation. But there's been stuff floating around regarding the future of these Disney live action remakes. And apparently, the the future of these remakes, not it hinged on uh it I don't know, I don't want to say entirely, but the future of these remakes depended a great deal on the success of the live action Lilo and Stitch and the live action Moana. And depending on how successful those two films were, um, the success the future of the Disney live action remakes depended a great deal on the success of those two films. Now, the live action Lilo and Stitch made $1 billion. So there's that. And I thought it was very good. I thought it was very good. Um, I have not seen the live action Moana. I have heard it's terrible. And there are reports going around that this live action Moana is going to lose the studio $100 million at least. And that's not good. So I would say, and I think I think this would be a different story if the live action Moana was successful. But in my mind, um, if this live action Tangled doesn't knock it out of the park, then the future of these live action remakes could be in serious jeopardy. And look, I understand. I said before, I understand the criticism. I understand why some people just refuse to see them. And to be honest with you, there have been uh, a few that I have not liked and that have disappointed me. Like the live action Lion King really disappointed me. Visually, it looked great, but they could have just as easily mailed James Earl Jones a check and used the dialogue from the original movie, because that's exactly what they did. They used 90% of the original dialogue for that live action remake. Um, the live action Beauty and the Beast was really good. The live action Cinderella was really good. Jungle Book was great. I was not a fan of Dumbo. Not really. Um, you know, so and again, I think this would be a different story if the live action Moana was as successful as the live action Lilo and Stitch, but it wasn't. And I would say, and look, I if I was if 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 I was in a room right now, like I would say that if this live action Tangled doesn't knock it out of the park, um, I think there's I think there I think there's going to be, and maybe should be, some serious discussions about the future of these live action remakes. But that's just me. I don't know. Um, but everything regarding the casting of this movie sounds good. Um, but we'll see what happens. I mean, this could be really, really good, if not great, or it could turn out to be horrible. Who knows? But I just wanted to talk about this live action Tangled, and the future of these remakes for a minute. So jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts about all that. So this next bit of news is really cool. So for those who don't know, there is going to be this kind of this action thriller movie called Supermax that is going to reportedly release direct to streaming on Prime Video, and it's going to star Will Smith, who I love. I love Will Smith. And there's been some casting news regarding this movie called Supermax. This article is on CBR, published by Sam Fang. This article says, after his breakout role in the Michael Jackson biopic Michael, Jafar Jackson has landed his next big role. He will star in Supermax, Amazon MGM Studios and Miramax's new action thriller. Deadline broke the news of Jackson's casting, where he will join the previously announced Will Smith and Anna Sophia Robb. Exact details of his role are still being kept under wraps, but Deadline teased it as quote-unquote pivotal to the film's central plot. The film sees two FBI agents, played by Will Smith and Anna Sophia Robb, who investigate a seemingly impossible murder that happens within the impenetrable walls of a maximum security prison. It will reportedly release direct to streaming on Prime Video, though an exact date has yet to be confirmed. Um, Now, this article does continue. Supermax sees that this article points out that Supermax will be directed by David Gordon Green, who directed the 2018 Halloween movie that starred Jamie Lee Curtis as an older Laurie Strode, and he also directed The Exorcist Believer. So, David Gordon Green will be directing this movie. Okay, let me just say this. I have not seen Michael. This is going to sound really, really weird. I have no interest. Sometimes there are movies that come along that, and I've said this before, but I'll watch anything. However, sometimes there are movies that come along that I have no interest in at all. And that happens. However, I have a one of my weird quirks, I would say, is that if a movie makes $1 billion at the box office, I have to see it because I have to see what all the fuss is about. Like, regardless of what I've heard about the quality of the film, the fact that if a movie makes $1 billion at the box office, it means that enough people are interested in seeing, like, enough people enjoy it. So I have to, what's all, and there have been movies that I have seen that I had no interest in that, if you look up movies that have joined the $1 billion club, as they say, I've seen all of them except for the ones that have come out this year, And this Michael Jackson biopic. Anyway, my point is that this Michael Jackson biopic movie made $1 billion at the box office. I had no interest in seeing it. But because of its enormous financial success, now I have to see it because I have to see what I have to like again, what I have to see what all the fuss is about. Like what attracted people so much to see this movie. And by the way, I really do honestly believe that most of the movies that have made $1 billion at the box office deserved to be that successful. Most of the movies that have made $1 billion at the box office are really, really good, if not great. I personally have not heard very good things about this Michael Jackson biopic movie. I have heard that as far as capturing the essence of Michael Jackson as an entertainer, that Jafar Jackson crushes it. Just absolutely crushes it. Capturing the essence of the character, capturing, the dance choreography. I have heard great things about him. Eventually, I will see this movie. Now, him coming off the enormous success of Michael, now starring in this movie alongside Will Smith, who at one time was Mr. Summer Blockbuster, is great for him. It's great for him. Honestly, because of the financial success of the Michael Jackson biopic. Now I want this movie to be in theaters because a movie starring Will Smith, who is a great actor, and at one point, what you could count on him to make really great to be in really great movies during the summer, and coming off the success of Michael, this movie could be a huge hit if it was released in theaters. So it's a little disappointing that it's going to be released straight to streaming. Now, here's where I'm a little dubious about this film. David Gordon Green, like this article points out, directed the 2018 Halloween movie. It's really, really good. It's really, really good. Now, I want to make sure I get my information correct on this. So he also directed the other two Halloween films in that new Halloween trilogy. And I think it's safe to say, after the first one is really, really good. The other two are exactly the opposite. If I'm being perfectly, and that's just my opinion. I found the other two to be terrible. Now, he also directed The Exorcist Believer, which was supposed to kick off he directed The Exorcist Believer, which was going to be similar to what he did with Halloween, where this Exorcist Believer was going to be a legacy sequel to the original film, ignoring all the other films that came, and it was going to kick off this new trilogy and ignore all the other films that came before it. Unfortunately, the critical and financial failure of The Exorcist Believer canceled those plans. And as someone who is a huge fan of the original Exorcist, like, I believe the two greatest horror films ever made are The Shining and The Exorcist. I can't even bring myself to watch, because I've heard nothing but bad things about The Exorcist Believer. I can't even bring myself to watch that movie because I've heard how bad it is, and I'm such a huge fan of the original Exorcist. Like, I can't. Like, I'm gonna need, like, if I watch it, I'm gonna need alcohol, to get me through that. I've heard it completely destroys, So you have David Gordon Green directing this Supermax movie. And that makes me extremely dubious about it. Now, so maybe it's a good thing that it's going straight to streaming. Because you don't it if it plays in theaters and it's terrible, it could lose a lot of money, and there's less risk by putting it straight to streaming. So maybe putting it straight to streaming is a good decision. Um, I'll say this: if I watch this Supermax movie and it's great, I'm gonna be like, oh man, they really messed up. But I have to be honest, judging by the two the second and third films in the Halloween movies that he directed and The Exorcist Believer, I'm not banking on this movie being very entertaining, but I could be wrong, and I've been wrong before. So jump in the comments section and let me know your thoughts on this Supermax movie. Okay. So, moving on here. Let me see here. Where was I? Okay. So, I think last episode I talked about the fact that there's going to be this in the James Gunn DC universe. There is going to be a TV series centered around the character of Jimmy Olsen. And the actor who played Jimmy Olsen in the 2025 Superman movie will be returning. And they cast Gorilla Grodd for this show. Jimmy Tatro has been cast as Gorilla Grodd. He's going to be the villain. And there's been more casting news regarding this show. This article is on CBR, published by Jeremy Dick. Let me see here. A little ways down here, it says that this article says, Deadline reports that Mary Holland from Ghosts has been cast as the Superman spin-off series female lead. Mary Holland will play the role of Sandra, but beyond her name, no other character details were revealed. So, Mary Holland was on Ghosts. She was also in the reinvention of Little House on the Prairie on Netflix. She was in this movie called Night Bitch with Amy Adams. So unfortunately, I don't really have much to offer in terms of, I like that we're getting a TV show centered on Jimmy Olsen, like investigative reporting. That's really cool. Like, who would have ever thought we would get a show like that? And maybe some other DC characters will show up in this show. Maybe Mary Holland, this Sandra character, is going to be another reporter. Maybe she'll be a possible love interest. Who knows? I don't really have much more to offer. regarding what I think about this show. I mean, it's cool that we're getting this investigative reporting kind of show. Um, you know, but I'll just say what I always say. Like, the more casting news means they're going to start uh, filming soon. And I also want to say, I love that we're getting all different kinds of films and TV shows in this DC universe. I mean, um, you know, this is not going to be a superhero show. This is going to, from what I understand, this is going to be an investigative journalism kind of show in a superhero world, which sounds great. Um, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to them starting to film soon. Um, so uh, jump in the comments section and let me know your thoughts about this. This It's going to be called. What is it going to be called? I Oh, it's not officially titled, but there have been rumors that it's going to be called DC Crime. Cool. I'm down with that. So jump in the comment section and let me know your guys' thoughts on this. Okay, so this next bit of news is a little disappointing. So for those who don't know, there is this film coming that is being written by Taylor Sheridan, who is, as far as I'm concerned, look, it's not that I'm not a Taylor Sheridan fan. I just haven't seen much of what he's done. I mean, he's obviously one of the busiest men in the industry right now, and has been for quite a while, for a number of years. So he wrote this movie called Fast, and it's this action thriller movie, and it's going to star Lakeith Stanfield and Jason Clarke and Sam Claflin, and it's going to be directed by Ben Richardson. And like I said, Taylor Sheridan wrote it. And there's this article. There's been an update regarding that movie, Fast. Now, I should point out that this article is on Joe Blow, published by E.J. Tangled. And I just want to. This article does give a brief synopsis about the film. This article says that the film revolves around a former Special Forces commando down on his luck after he returned stateside, who was tapped by the DEA to lead a Black Ops strike team against CIA-protected drug dealers in his town. This sounds great. However, there's been some news regarding this movie. This article does say that Fast was set to release in the spring on April 23rd, 2027. However, Deadline now reports that the movie will be rescheduled to a month later in what is more seen as the start of the summer movie season on May 14th, 2027. Now, this moves Fast out of competition with So this moves fast out of competition with Spaceballs, the new one. I love that it's called Spaceballs, the new one. So, um, look, an action thriller kind of movie. Do I think this was a smart move? Look, in terms of I think everybody's gonna flock to see Spaceballs too. That it's it, that's exactly what's gonna happen. But as far as an action thriller movie playing in the summer instead of the spring, I think that's a smart move. I do, especially if it's written by Taylor Sheridan, um, whose body of work is I mean, I haven't seen it, but I've heard about the quality of his work and how long he's been in just the amount of the kind of success that he's had over a very short period of time is unparalleled. It's unheard of. But I think this is a smart move. You know, these action blockbusters being released in the summer, I think it's a smart move. And I mean, let's face it, if it's released um, in tandem with Spaceballs 2, it's going to lose that competition. It really is. Um, I will say, I just want to, and this has nothing to do with Fast, but I mean, I know that Taylor Sheridan is mostly known for his TV work. Um, but he did write Hell or High Water, which is fucking awesome. Um, he did write um, uh, the two Sicario movies. The first one was directed by Denis Villeneuve. Um, the first one is the second one's good. The second one's good. I think the first one's better, but they're both really they're both worth watching. Um, Now he did write this movie, which came out during the pandemic. Um, Called "Those Who Wish Me Dead," which it stars Angelina Jolie as a smoke jumper, basically a person who spots forest fires. Um, and her character protects this boy who's on the run from a couple of assassins uh, as this massive forest fire occurs. That one is decent. That one is decent. That was as far as Taylor Sheridan movies are concerned. I think the only ones like Sicario 2 was decent. Hell or High Those Who Wish Me Dead was decent. But everything else he's done is as far as the movies he's worked on are concerned, I thought were I have not seen Wind River. Um No, I haven't. But, and that was directed by him too. Um, but yeah. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about this release date news, and as well as the Taylor Sheridan work that I have seen, which is his film work. Um, most of it's his film work, mostly in my opinion, is great, but you know, uh, when you're when you're Sicario 2 is decent. Those Who Wish Me Dead is decent. You know, but I think even Taylor Sheridan's worst work is, I think most writers and most filmmakers could aspire to be that good. You know what I mean? Like even Sicario 2, even though it's decent, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. You know, a lot of writers wish they could be as good as Taylor Sheridan. You know what I mean? So anyway, jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on um, Fast and yeah, the Fast moving its release date and yeah, yeah. Let's see here. Okay, so obviously one of the excuse me. One of the major one of the major movie announcements to come out recently that has legions of fans, including myself, absolutely deliriously excited, is the announcement of a fourth Brendan Fraser Mummy movie. Now, for those who don't know, it has been revealed that the third Mummy movie, um, the directors of this upcoming Mummy movie, the directors of this new one, have confirmed that they will be ignoring the events of the third one, The Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, the one with Jet Li, which, to be honest with you, they should ignore that movie because that movie sucks in every capacity. That movie's terrible. One of the reasons it's terrible is that I don't believe for a second that Brendan Fraser can beat Jet Li in a fight. You've completely lost me. You completely lost me. But anyway, the directors of this new Mummy movie, who, by the way, I want to make sure I get this right. I want to make sure I get this right. Excuse me. They directed the they directed Scream 5, and they also directed Ready or Not. The first one. And I'm like, holy shit, these guys directing a mummy movie. This movie's going to be fucking awesome. But the directors of they're professionally known as Radio Silence. They're directing this Mummy 4. They have confirmed that they are ignoring the events of The Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. And they should, because that movie's terrible. So this will be a proper sequel to The Mummy Returns. And, you know, Brendan Fraser's coming back. Obviously, Rachel Weisz is coming back as Evelyn, which is so good. It's so good. Now, there's been some casting news regarding The Mummy 4. And one bit of casting news, I have to admit, has me a little bit puzzled. This article is on Joe Blow, published by Steve Saig. This article, and a little ways down here, it says that according to Deadline, franchise veterans Kevin J. O'Connor and Oded Fair are returning for another tussle with the undead. Newman Akar is also joining the cast in an undisclosed role. Now, for those who don't know, Oded Fair played Ardeth Bay in he played Ardeth Bay in the 1999 Mummy and returned in The Mummy Returns. You know, Ardeth Bay was the leader of the Magi. And so he's going to be back. Now, Kevin J. O'Connor played Benny in the 1999 Mummy movie. And he died. So I'm curious as to how he will be back. You know, and I have to be honest, Benny was, you know, as a character, he's kind of, as a character, he's kind of stupid. But he's funny. He's funny too, you know. But he died. And I'm like, how is he, like, I'm curious as to how he's coming back. I'm also so yeah. That's interesting. And Oded Fair coming back as Ardeth Bay, you know, that's awesome. Now, Newman Akar, let me see here. Let me see if it gives. I'm not familiar with him. I'm not familiar with him, and I don't know what else he has been in. So it's going to be an undisclosed role. Maybe he'll play the new uh maybe he'll play the villain. That could be cool. But yeah, um, yeah, I. It has been. I just want to say this. Um, one of the one of the co-directors of this Mummy movie has said that both Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz were not going to do it unless they loved the script. So the fact that they're both in it, is it's great. Um, I God, I you know what? I love those movies. I love those movies. Not so much the third one, and which I'm glad they're ignoring that one. Um, but yeah, uh, yeah. I can't wait for this. I'm so excited for this. So jump in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on this. All right. One last bit of news here. So, a while back, I talked about the fact that there's going to be this um, reimagining of the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which is one of the most influential horror films of all time. Excuse me, I watched it in film school. It's 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 great. It's fantastic. There's gonna it's this 1920 silent horror film, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and it's going to get a reimagining, a reinvention called Dr. Caligari's Cabinet of Wonders, and it's going to star Michael Shannon. Well, there's been more casting news regarding that movie. This article is on Joe Blow, published by Cody Haman. Let me see here. Oh, uh, in a little ways down here, it says Variety reports that Talia Ryder from Honey Don't has joined Michael Shannon in Dr. Caligari's Cabinet of Wonders. I have not seen Honey Don't, so I'm not too familiar with her. This article does point out that Michael Shannon will play Dr. Caligari, which is brilliant casting. It's brilliant casting. Now, I have to say, and I think I pointed this out the last time I talked about it, but I want to reiterate it just in case. So the director of this Dr. Caligari's Cabinet of Wonders, John Eric Dowdle. He directed this movie called As Above, So Below, which is kind of this psychological horror found footage movie that I heard was not very good. He also directed this movie in 2008 called Quarantine, which is another kind of found footage horror film that I heard was better than As Above, So Below. But still, me, I heard it was decent. So I'm dubious about this Cabinet of Dr. Caligari reimagining. And because the original is a classic. It's a silent classic. It's one of the most influential horror films ever made. And I hope this director doesn't fuck it up. Now, this could go the way of the remake of Nosferatu, which, oh my God, if you haven't seen, it came out, it was directed by Robert Eggers, and it starred Lily Rose Depp, and it came out in 2024, the remake of Nosferatu. And I say this as a huge fan of the original Nosferatu, the silent horror film. The remake of Nosferatu is great. It's great. But I'm worried about this remake, this Dr. Caligari's Cabinet of Wonders. I love Michael Shannon as an actor, but we'll see. So jump in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about this remake of the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Well, that will about do it for today. I will be. I hope you enjoyed the show today, and I hope you to continue to enjoy the show in the future. I will be on. I'm trying to think of when I'll be on next. It'll either be later this week or sometime next week. I do know that Katie and I are going to try to see Spider-Man Brand New Day this coming weekend. We have plans this coming weekend. And those plans part of those plans may or may not involve trying to see Spider-Man Brand New Day. I say trying to see because that movie is making batshit crazy amounts of money, and it is extremely hard to get tickets. But I really want to see it. We both really want to see it. I even have a Spider-Man t-shirt that I'm going to wear. So we'll see what happens. But I will be on again either later this week or sometime next week. So yeah. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope you continue to enjoy the show in the future. As always, if you want my thoughts on anything film related, you can drop a comment. You can email me. Yeah. So, I hope everybody out there is doing well. And until next time, I will see you at the movies.